Okay, we're going to pick up where we left off on Wednesday. But now, instead of just being asked a single question, we're given a figure. And we're asked to find the measure of this missing angle. Well, so first of all, the first step is to find the sum of all interior angles. Which you're going to use that formula, n minus 2 times 180, where n equals the number of sides. So sometimes here, yeah, I just realized that. Sorry about that. Sometimes what happens here is you're going to, as you start to do these, you're going to remember certain ones. You're going to remember maybe that, well, you already know a triangle is 180. You might remember that a quadrilateral or 4 sides is 360. And you may not have to go through this work. But if you don't know what the sum of the angles are, then you go through and do it. Okay? So, for this one, I'm going to pretend I don't know. Quadrilateral, I know, has 4 sides. So the sum of the angles is equal to n minus 2 times 180. Well, the n is a 4. Remember, do inside the parentheses first. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And then times 180 is 360.
Does that say 4 minus 2?
Yes, it does. You guys could turn your cameras on if you won't lag too much. That helps. That way I can see if you're writing or if you're done waiting for me to do the rest of the problem. Okay, so now that's the first step. And then the second step is to write an equation. An equation using all of the angle measures that add up to 360. So all angles add to equal the sum. That's kind of just my little shorthand there. So we're going to take all of our angle measurements, whatever we have written down, okay? So we have an X, we have 104, we have 150, plus 54, and all of those have to add together to be 360. Hopefully you have a calculator. Going to make your life easier this chapter. And it's better to have one that's just a regular calculator than on your phone, but if it's just a phone, that's fine too. So add these numbers together. They're all like terms. So if we add all those together, we should get 308. And then subtract 308 from both sides, and we'll get X is 52. So for this one, that's all we have to do. Because our angle measurement is equal to that variable that we just solved for, we just found the answer. Now the other thing here to do is double check here. Do all of these angle measurements now add up to 360? That's a way to kind of find a mistake if you made a mistake solving an equation. So punch those in your calculator real quick and see, do they all add up to 360? And the answer is yes, they do, right? Okay. So any questions there before I move on to the next one? So this may not always be a quadrilateral. It might be a hexagon. It might be a dodecagon. So first thing is you have to use however many sides you have to find this number, what the sum of all the angles are. Then you're going to take all your angle measurements and add them up to that number. Okay, let's look at another one. Okay, so we have a pentagon. So how many sides does a pentagon have? It has 5 sides. And we can even count them around here too, as we have the picture, right? So the first thing would be to, like up above, said to find the sum of all the interior angles. So the sum of our angles is equal to n minus 2 times 180. So here your n equals 5. Go ahead and finish that and tell me what you get for the sum of the angles here. I'm getting 1540. Anybody else agree? I'm getting at least one more. And when I multiply that out, I get the same thing, 540. So what that means now is that all of our angle measurements inside this pentagon add up to 540 degrees. So that's what you're going to use to write your next equation. Let's just start around the pentagon and start listing them. 145 plus 133 plus 149 plus 63 plus 3 z squared plus 2. I have to come on the other side to put my equals because I ran out of room. Equals 540. So now we just have to solve that equation. It's running off the screen. So add up all your like terms, so all of our numbers without a variable, are all like terms. Tell me what you get when you add up all these like terms. Don't forget the 2 that might have kind of gone off the page when we started the notes, because that angle was 3z plus 2. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of 492s. So when we add up all those numbers, it should be 492. So just finish solving this equation. Subtract 492 from both sides. Kind of skip down here. So that's going to be 48 equals 3z squared. Then we're trying to get that variable by itself. So divide by 3. So we get z squared equals 16. Now this is where it comes up to something that we haven't really seen a lot. I think you did stuff like this in algebra though. How do you, this is a squared z, which we don't want. We want just z. So how can I get that z squared not a z? Perfect, Victoria. It says we're going to need to take the square root of it. Take the square root of both sides. So that's going to be z equals 4. So we've got the first part of the equation, or the solution, I mean. What do we need to do now to find what the unknown angle measurement is? So that means this angle here. What do we need to do to find out what that is? Yep, plug it in. So 3 times 4 squared plus 2. Make sure you follow order of operations, exponents, multiplying, addition. Go ahead and do it and tell me what you get. Okay, so remember to do order of operations. Some of you aren't doing order of operations. Exponents first. So 4 times 4 is 16. Then multiplication. Then your addition. So that angle measurement should be 50. Okay, now some of you got something a little different. Hopefully you see where you made your error there. Probably just not in doing that order of operations correctly. Okay, so before I finish here, what I want to do is take all of these numbers, all of my angles that I now know an actual degree for, and add them up. if I add them up, they should equal 540 degrees. So check that. Put them on your in your calculator and check and see if they do equal 540 degrees or not. Okay, so Sam's saying yes they do. Is anybody else verifying that for me? Okay, great. Okay, so before we move on, or before I let you go do your assignment, I should say,